This video is brought to you by GundamHangar.com. GundamHangar.com offers Canadians a limited selection of premium Bandai kits along with tools, handpicked by the staff to bring you the best of the best. Expect secure packing and fast shipping, along with flat shipping rates all across Canada. They believe in fair prices for everyone, and they're here to put those ideals into practice. If you're in Canada, go and visit their site. Here we have the Barbatos completely switched over to the replacement pieces that come in the box. And let me just say that for the most part, the kit looks amazing. The finish on the metal pieces reflects the light beautifully. The kit comes with replacements for parts of the arms, the inner body, the thighs, and the feet. The process of changing out the pieces is as easy as taking the kit apart and following the original sections in the original manual of the aforementioned parts. Unfortunately, the set itself doesn't come with labels or instructions. Rather, it depends on the user to figure them out by themselves. To the credit of the original Barbatos, the pieces of the frame are easily recognizable and without a doubt will be set in the correct places after organizing them. Or you could just watch this beautiful B-roll and pause it to see where the pieces go. While recording this review, I told Brian and Kevin that the best part of the replacement pieces is included on the top half of the kit, starting with the included POM shoulder armor replacement parts. For as much as the Barbatos is an amazing kit, the clasps on the plastic armor do not hold up and will weaken over time, so it's nice to see someone address this issue with this kind of pieces. The arms and body retain their full motion of movement, even with the replacement pistons, which looks so much better in their metal alloy form, so no need to worry if your kit is going to be able to move just like it used to. Now here come the problems. Things can turn a bit sour starting from the waist down. Looking closely at the thigh area, it would be difficult to ignore the glaring seam lines. They are, in my opinion, a lot more noticeable than the original plastic ones. This may not be a deal breaker to those who have their Barbatos all armored up, but for those who enjoy having the IBO frame on display, it will definitely be a deal breaker. The metal parts for the knee don't clamp as nicely with the shin plastic pieces and thus have a tendency to sway if you were to, let's say, put it up in the air. And then you get to the feet. Arguably the worst area for this set. The box is meant to include two different methods for connecting the heel and the foot of the Barbatos, with the use of a ball joint or a clasp. Unfortunately for me, my set came with 3 ball joint pieces and just 1 clasp when it should have been 2 and 2. For the left foot, I was forced to use one of the ball joint pieces, and let me tell you that it just doesn't work. I had to carve out the piece where the ball joint connects, only to find out I carved it a little bit too much. So then I had to apply super glue to the ball joint to add millimeters of thickness, and then, and only then, did it somewhat fit. This made posting the kit, be it standing or a base, impossible. The left foot would fall off if someone even dared look at it. This would still be something I'd mention even if the set came with the correct pieces, since you, the user, are given the choice to either use the ball joint or the clasp. Take it from me and use the clasp. At the end of the day, towards the end of the video, when we get to the LEDs and the Bandai Expansion set, you will notice that I stopped using, for the left foot specifically, the metal heel part, which is the one that connects with the ball joint. So I'm sorry, Dot Workshop, but that was really a bummer because that is the base of the Barbatos, and standing him was hell for me. I don't chalk this up to being Dot's Workshop's fault, I should mention, but more of what we get when a third-party company tries to replicate Bandai's almost non-existent margin of error when it comes to their fitment of their pieces. For our next part of the video, we're going to be looking at the KOSMOS LED Matrix Set, which you can buy to get your master grade Barbatos to start coming to life with some LEDs. We're going to take an in-depth look into the board and to the little LEDs, but if you guys would like to see a more in-depth review of how to actually mod your Barbatos, we'll do a separate video for that, and you can let us know down in the comments if you'd like to see that, and we'll get a whole customized Barbatos. For the meantime, we're just gonna focus on the product. All right guys, so this is a quick overview of what you get in the box. So as we said, we're gonna be looking at the product, and once again, if you wanna see an in-depth modded kind of
guide on how to get these to look super amazing on the kit, let me know. We're gonna do, like I said, overview. So let's look at the main part of the show, which is the LEDs, right? So the LEDs come with a controller, which of course turns them and turns them off, but you also have other little options to go along with that. So let me show you that real quick. So we're turning them on. The first one that turns on is gonna be the one for the head. So it'll be this one. I know it sounds weird. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. But these are the LEDs you get. Now these are all white except for these blue ones. The blue one is for the thruster, but we'll get into that later. The white ones are white because if you guys remember, the Barbatos comes with clear plastic, which will, bleed through and give you the nice little color here. So I have this already set up for you guys to kind of take a look and see how it looks. The other thing that we get is a protector, a little sleeve for the cables once you're done modding and installing them on the kit. It's as easy as just twisting them on, according to Kevin, right Kevin?
Hi.
You twist this on the cable?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your help, Kevin. Always very helpful. Another thing that we have is the double-sided sticky tape. So you can cut these in, you're not gonna need the whole thing, but you can cut them into little pieces and put them where they belong, and then just stick the LED to it. So, like this, cut it out, put it where it goes. It's nice, looks really cool. You also get a whole battery, which you have to hook up to the board, to the main board. This is rechargeable. Surprisingly, this is rechargeable. Let me turn this off real quick, just in case I do something, I don't know, I don't wanna break it. Okay, so, if you guys look closely, we have a USB-C port. So this means that you can plug this into any charger that has USB-C, gives it enough current, and it'll charge this puppy up, and you'll have, lights for days. I think that's a really cool kind of thing to add onto this because, like, as we've seen, the Master Grade Extreme uses AA batteries. No rechargeable batteries on it from Bandai itself. It's just kind of weird. Anyway. Other things that we get, unfortunately, we don't get any instructions for installing them onto the kit. Does this look good, Brian? Is this good? Okay, cool. What you get instead is how to set up the board. I think it's kind of funny too because this piece right here, this board, that's not something that you get. This one has a switch, it has a button. Instead, remember that instead of that board, you get the controller. So don't be scared like we were when we saw that this wasn't included in the box. But it'll tell you how to connect it, and then it'll also show you what comes with it. I don't know if we can get a little zoom in there, but it's an acrylic piece that should be for like, to show it off, like a stand. The reason it brings it with it is because it's meant for this to go on there. And these are the standoffs, but as you guys can see on the table, I don't have an acrylic piece. So I will have to say that this is not on Gundam Hangar. This is actually on the manufacturer, KOSMOS, who sent it over to him because the acrylic piece is just completely missing. I wish that we would have gotten it because according to Brian and Kevin, who saw these in person and are here with me in the room, these are pretty nice. They have pretty nice heft. It's pretty good quality. I would have loved to have seen the acrylic piece. But with that said, we're gonna head on to putting this puppy together with all the armor that we have over here. Can we see this over here?
No.
No, we can't? Okay. Let me, it's a good thing we have Brian there because, I need to know what we can and can't see. So we have all of the armor pieces for the Barbatos here, for the naked Barbatos. And we're gonna put it on him and fit this in just as a general fitting, all right? This is not modded in any way. I just want you guys to be able to see how this will look when you guys have it done. So let's get started.
This is the first time I have ever meddled with LEDs of this nature, since I don't consider Bandai LEDs in that standard. As we all know, they are far inferior to anything else available to us, unless You talk about the MGX Unicorn LEDs, but let's not talk about that. Looking at the fully kitted out Barbatos and with the lights on, we can get a sense of how bright these LEDs are. The wires feel fragile to the touch, but I consider that a mental issue with me, as I just want to be delicate with them. I know that you are seeing a lot of wires in these close-up shots, but I remind you that this is just a rough installation to show what it looks like. The cables are long enough to keep the Barbatos articulating without a problem, and the included sticky pads, which are more than we need, will help a great deal when the final modding commences. We plan to follow up this video with the same kit, but completely painted and modded to conclude the ultimate Barbatos build. Do be careful with where you install the LEDs on the kit, as they follow sequences that are already programmed in the included controller, which range from flashing lights to ones where they turn on starting from the head to the shoulders, but there are sequences in the controller. It's not just to turn it on. I seriously have no negatives for this LED set. I mean, rechargeable battery through USB-C? Check. Not even Apple has that. Remote control? Check. The control works flawless, though it does include a section with buttons that serve no purpose. A twisty protection sleeve for cable management? Check. Chinese characters embedded on the control board that you need to translate with your phone? Check. All kidding aside, this LED set is a must-have for those looking to up their Barbatos display with just a little bit of modding. At an average of 33 Canadian dollars for everything in the box, this is a stupid amazing deal. Quick disclaimer, the glass base was not included in the box. We mentioned that earlier. And it's not through error from KOSMOS, but more because KOSMOS decided to sell it separately. We will be showing that off in part 2 of this series. Let's start with one of the best parts of this set, the mobile worker. Ever since I saw the series and got into the hobby, I wanted to have one of these little babies. Such a simple but awesome design. The worker comes in 2 main variants before mixing and matching. The standard type shell, which is completely closed off and can have the Mikazuki pilot, which comes with the original Barbatos inside, and the commander type, which sports a little seat for someone to stand on. Yeah, that's right, the set also comes with an Orga figure. So now fans can have Orga stand atop the worker just like in the series. It feels really cool to be able to have Mikazuki and Orga together once more. Now, back to the mobile worker. The little guy can be fitted with either missile launchers or cannons. It's up to you to decide which one you want. On to the rest of the set. Did you ever want to see your Barbatos look like it needs to put on some weight? The first form has you covered. Coming straight out like we saw him in the beginning of the series, this version of the Barbatos is the most simple, but also is surprisingly awesome looking. I must warn you that you'll have to tear down some pieces of your MG Barbatos if you are coming into this set with the fully built one already, as the manual caters more to those who are building their Barbatos for the first time. The first form is as simple as removing the shoulder and forearm armor and replacing them with what comes in the box. The best part of this set is that you can build on top of the kit without doing too much. I should mention now that I for sure suggest buying and using a part separator to get this done smoothly. It also helps prevent damaging the pieces. Anyhow, this form of the Barbatos is the titular version you see in the intro of IBO Season 1. You know which one I'm talking about. In order to bring this guy to life, you will need to put on the shoulder armor, and that's that? As I said, it's pretty simple. Now, before we move on, you need to know that the blue armor shoulder piece is mega prone to nub marks, so sad noises all around. This just means it's a little extra work for us the builders to make sure that they're completely gone. We move back to removing some forearm armor for the third form in order to accommodate the wire claw, which goes on the left side. Now hear me out, I love working with expansion sets like this. For example, the HWS set which we reviewed earlier this year for the RG New, because of how seamless the adding and removing of parts is. It makes you really appreciate the precise engineering and design of Bandai's team. Anyhow, the wire claw is pretty cool and even comes with the wire to recreate more active poses, but it's pretty thin. Let's take a look at it on this next shot that was definitely not filmed on my phone because I forgot to do it the day we recorded the crispy footage on Brian's camera. Okay guys, so I am definitely not in my office right now, but I do have the Barbatos here with the wire that I forgot to record the day that we did the recording for all of this. But anyway, this is it. It goes right into the gauntlet on this end here. You do have to add an extra piece in here that comes in the box that helps hold the wire in place. The only downside to this wire, it's cool that they included it, but it's really weak. So it won't hold the claw up. It does right now because I actually twisted it here in order to create some support at the bottom. But if you want to say pull it out like this, it just drops, right? It just flops down. You see that? It's like it's it's basically just dragging it along as opposed to having it somewhere, and it just droops. So it's cool that they brought it in, but it's definitely not something that you would want to use to post unless you want to just do something close quarters. But yeah, like I said, it's really cool that they included it. But yeah, there you go. Now we get into the more different transformations that seriously change the silhouette of the kit. The 5th form onward is more complex than the previous ones. We start by taking off all the armor on both arms and adding the new pieces to fit the awesome weapons on his forearms. We will also be putting on the original 4th form shoulder armor back. The chest gets a complete makeover with the added bulk of the armor. Arguably, the most complex part of the build here are the waist additions, relying on a whole new structure to hold them in place. The claws click onto the back of the waist armor with minimal effort, and with both of them on ball joints, the movement is extremely forgiving. As I played around with this set and swapped out pieces, and I know I've already mentioned it, it's so difficult to not want to praise Bandai for their fitting of their parts. The 5th form ground type only requires us to swap out pieces from the gauntlet weapons, which transforms them into autocannons. These things look so cool, but wait, it gets better. The feet. Yes, the feet. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I like me some heels on Gundams. Good ones, not terrible ones. Looking at you, Death Sight. This will take some time as you need to take apart the original feet to fit on the new ones. The process is easy, and as I mentioned before, using a part separator will work wonders for you. The new footwear gives the Barbatos some much needed height and makes him look even more menacing. Bandai also includes rubber stickers to stick to the sole of this armor part to keep it from sliding around. I did not add them as I had plans to paint this unit for the second part of this Ultimate Barbatos build series. I should mention that you lose a little bit of swivel in the back end of the feet with these kind of armor on it, but nothing too terrible. It's mainly because the armor gets in the way of the piston, which normally the original ones wouldn't, and lets it swivel around like there's no tomorrow. But they still look great in my opinion. The final form. For Season 1 Barbatos, the 6th, sports a chunkier and meaner looking Barbatos. For this form, you will need to replace the long snouted chest armor with the shorter one. The 4th form shoulder armor also disappears once more in favor of a beefier armor which surprisingly has some articulation with flaps. Again, it may seem like a lot to do, but trust me, doing this is so simple. The next part is to replace the side waist armor for the boosters that have claws. Unlike the 5th form, these just slide into the peg holes of the waist frame. The coolest part by far of this stage has got to be the special large mace. This thing is monstrous. The mace complements the menacing look of the fully kitted out Barbatos and should make any mobile suit tremble. The mace fits onto the Barbatos either on the backpack or on the hands. Problem though is that if you put the mace on the backpack, the kit will more than likely fall back due to the sheer weight of the weapon. The weapon holding hands that the OG kit comes with also poses a problem, as the peg that holds them in place isn't strong enough and will more than likely keep falling off until it decides to cooperate. Here is a look at the completed 6th form Barbatos versus the 4th form Master Grade. Definitely a lot more presence with the added height. With that said, the kit can also be posed on its feet or on an action base. It just requires some patience to get it right. This expansion set is basically what it says in the box. Expansion. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I talked to Brian about this set on the way over to Kevin's and expressed that I feel that the set is for those who are super fans of the IBO series, and the Barbatos of course. Remember, this is a P Bandai limited release kit, meaning you'll be paying that P Bandai tax for it. Normally I would complain, but I can't. The box comes with everything it says it does, and it even includes water decals. This is meant for IBO fans, and as one of them, I completely love it and recommend it. We've come to the end of part 1 of the Ultimate Barbatos build and what journey it has been. So let's do a quick recap of what we saw and what my final thoughts are. The Dot Workshop Metal Replacement Part Set. Should you go out of your way to get one? Seeing as my set came with one less piece but also an extra, it really depends. I for sure love the weight the metal parts add, and I love the replacement for the terrible OG shoulder frame, but is it a must have? If you're a fan of the Barbatos and want yours to be elevated, then yes, buy one. Just be wary that you might have a mishap happen like we did. Definitely cool to see third parties make these kind of sets, but they are far from perfect. The KOSMOS LED Matrix Set. Now here's an item that I can argue is a must to really take advantage of a great deal in my opinion. The LEDs work phenomenally. The added controller with program sequences that can change at a button's click from afar, and a rechargeable USB-C battery all bundled with just a little modding and time from the user, no reason not to get it. And it looks great. The Barbatos Expansion Set. A recurring theme of, if you're a fan, and I know I've said that before, but it's true. The P Bandai tax on this set is worth it only if you really love the Barbatos design. And I hope Bandai comes out with an MG Barbatos Lupus Rex soon to really seal the deal with this magnificent mobile suit design. Just don't make it a premium Bandai. Thank you once again to GundamHangar.com for providing these units to review. You can go find all of these on their website, so definitely go and check them out. Remember, they carry an assortment of Plamo kits, tools, and accessories. Remember to like and subscribe, ring the notification bell to be alerted of all future posts. This is just part 1 of what is the Ultimate Barbatos build. This has been Master Grade Jess. Until next time.